Today are bringing some amazing awareness to us. The American Kidney Fund highlighted APOL1 or POL1 mediated kidney disease, AMKD, with a second annual AMKD Awareness Day on April 19th. Black, African American, Afro-Caribbean, and Latinas are increased of having a mutation, one or both the genes that causes AMKD, a form rapidly progressive kidney disease. Our guests today are LaVarne Addison Burton, who is the president and chief executive officer of the American Kidney Fund, and Alonzo Mourning, basketball Hall of Famer diagnosed with AMKD and also a paid spokesman for Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Guys, thanks for stopping by. How are you today?
Fine.
Great,
Thank you
Neil.
so much for
Thank
having us.
you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And let's talk about this, LaVarne. Give us more of an education on what AMKD is.
Yeah. Let's start with AMKD Day, which we're really excited about. Actually, you still have a few more days. It's next Tuesday, April 29th. It'll be the second observance of AMKD or APOL1 mediated kidney disease day. And so let's talk quickly about what this disease is about. It's about actually everyone has two APOL1 genes. And if you have mutations of both of those genes, it puts you at higher risk of getting this form of kidney disease. It is a form that can strike people even when they're very young and healthy, and early detection is a key here. And who gets the disease? People who have ancestors from Western and Central Africa are at much higher risk. So people who identify as Black, as African American, Caribbean American, Hispanic are at higher risk for this disease. And we estimate, for example, that about 13% of the Black population of this country have two mutations of the genes, and that about 1 in 5 of those people will get kidney disease and possibly move into kidney failure. So AMKD Day and this whole effort that Alonzo and I are talking about this morning are to really, first of all, bring awareness to this disease, fairly recently discovered disease, and to encourage people to become more APOL1 aware so that they can do something about it. And I'm just going to mention a website where they can come, which is kidneyfund.org/AMKD.
All right. So how did you get the diagnosis come about? How did you find out about the diagnosis, Alonzo? What kind of symptoms were you having, things like that that caused you?
Well, Neil, that's a great question. Thanks again for having us. LaVarne and I are here to kind of amplify and educate as many people as we can, understanding that there are over 30 million Americans who suffer from chronic kidney disease. And then I didn't realize years ago that I'm the picture of health. I felt good, in great shape. I was playing in the Olympics in 2000, and then I noticed that I had this swelling in my legs. And then I was continually playing and I ignored it. And then I was extremely tired, but I fought through it. Something that we all do. We notice certain symptoms in our body and we ignore them until they get worse. But a routine physical, going back home after the Olympics, having to get my physical with the Miami, my preseason physical with the Miami, they noticed some abnormalities in my body chemistries, and they encouraged me to get a biopsy afterwards. And then they found out that I had FSGS, focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, which is a disease that slowly scars the filters in the kidney. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize that I would later learn that it was a form of AMKD. And then I started educating myself on what I needed to do. And I was very grateful to have a doctor where I could confide in and develop a relationship with and be transparent with them so we could slowly start the process. The truth in the matter is that we recognize that, and it's understandable, that there's a mistrust in the healthcare system, especially with people of color. It truly is. Toward when you think about the history of the injustices and the mistreatment and what have you. But it's important. I'm encouraging you that this is something that I did because I don't like going to the doctor either. But I knew that I had to be a little bit more proactive with my health in order to combat the things that I was dealing with. So you can't wait till things escalate and become worse. You have to get out in front of it and be an active participant in your own health and go to the doctor.
And that's the huge thing you mentioned. Go to the doctor, Alonzo. As
Yeah,
men,
yeah, yeah.
you and I was a former professional wrestler.
Especially men,
I
especially
played
men.
college basketball. I'm a legitimate 6'10", played at D3 at Western Maryland, became a professional wrestler. I know
Uh-huh,
I ignore injuries. I ignore pain.
uh-huh,
Why? Because we're told to play
uh-huh.
through it, right? So how can
Yeah,
we give this advice to people that when you start feeling things that are weird in your body, don't just say
uh-huh.
shrug it off, go right to the doctor.
Yeah, yeah, very much. And I was the same way. So we both share in our approach to that. As kids, especially as men, young men, we're told to suck it up and tough it out and what have you. And when reality, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, anything at all. I don't care how big your car is, how nice, how big your bank account is, how nice your house is. None of that stuff matters if you don't have your health. So health is wealth. So I encourage people to develop a stronger relationship with their doctor. When they do go to the doctor, be transparent and open up and have a deep conversation with their doctor so the doctors can help them. And then there's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion as well. Going to get a second opinion is extremely
Yeah.
important. It's something that I did, but educating yourself on the things that you need to do to take care of yourself.
No, LaVarne, I guess you will same thing based on this awareness day and everything is people to get checked out when they have symptoms like Alonzo's, to not sit there and wait till it's too late. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. Things don't get better, they get worse. And there's so many, in particular here, where you can early treatment and diagnosis slow down the progression of the disease so that you don't wind up in kidney failure. Or as it did in Alonzo's case, begin to look for a kidney when the kidney failure is inevitable and get a preemptive transplant. All of those are the kinds of things you can do. I would say, in addition to talking to your healthcare professional, start by talking with your family. Find out something about your family history. This disease, in particular, AMKD, is a genetic disease. It is one cause of kidney disease. So find out about your family history, where your family is from, and whether kidney disease, whether high blood pressure and diabetes, those things are prevalent in your family. And have that conversation with your doctor. And one of the things about this disease, AMKD in particular, is that genetic testing is something that should be considered. The decision on whether you do that is going to be up to you and your doctor and your family. But the only way to really definitively diagnose whether you have AMKD, whether you have these gene variances causing your kidney disease, is by doing genetic testing. And so that's another consideration that needs to be made. But we need to have conversations with family. We need to have conversations and trust with healthcare providers, and we need to take action. And again, part of taking action is getting the information that you need. And that's why we have assembled information on our website at kidneyfund.org/AMKD to help you get that information to be more ApoL1 aware of these gene variants and how they factor into your health, into your kidney health.
And
LaVarne,
Alonzo,
I want to add to that. LaVarne was talking about genetic testing. My nephrologist, I developed this relationship with him and my doctor, and he explained to me in considering genetic testing. And we have arrived to this particular point and through scientific research because of genetic testing, because so we've made tremendous advances over the years because at that particular time, nobody knew the direct connection between focal segmental glomerulosclerosis and AMKD. Now we do. So I encourage you all to consider genetic testing through the consultation of your doctor because it's helped us get to this point, help us advance through this whole process of understanding the ApoL1 genetic variants a little bit better.
what we're finally seeing in healthcare is we can really, our health is our wealth. And I love that comment you made, Alonzo. And if we can early detect this much earlier, we can get the proper treatment and be able to do that. How are you doing what is your story after going through all this? How are you feeling
Well,
and everything? Yeah.
Neil, I'm glad you asked that. Thank God, 21 years post transplant. When I was diagnosed in 2000, I didn't know what the future was going to hold. But through a close connection with my doctor, I was able to navigate through all of this. And then in 2003, I ended up receiving this transplant, and the rest was history. I went on to play ball again and won a championship in 2006. But I'm happy to be a spokesperson for AKF and Vertex Pharmaceuticals as we continue to educate the community on what they need to do. And we've developed a website and powerforwardtogether.com, which helps people navigate through all of this stuff. And I have testimonies and what have you on there to educate the community. And the long and short of it is that, I just want to be a positive inspiration to people that are dealing with kidney disease. I'm grateful that I've gone through this and I can speak to it firsthand and try to encourage and educate people on all of the statistics and understand how it's impacting the community and how especially people of color are more likely to have kidney disease just through diabetes and hypertension and what have you, which we lead in a lot of those statistics to kind of change the narrative and change those statistics.
All right. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. AMKD Day,
Thank you so
remember,
much.
April 29th. Appreciate it, guys. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley
Thank
Show.
you.
Back in just a moment.